Is Odyssey a bad game? No, it's not. It's a good game. But is Odyssey a bad Assassin's Creed game? Hmm. Hey, what's up gamers, and welcome to another video. Now, Assassin's Creed has been one of the most successful gaming franchise of Ubisoft, and almost all the gamers look forward to play the next game they have to offer. And I'm also an Assassin's Creed fan, so I have played every Assassin's Creed game that have been released so far, and Odyssey was a big turnout of how the real Assassin's Creed franchise was. I mean, after Origins, things have been changed a lot. My favorites of the franchise were from Assassin's Creed 1 to Assassin's Creed Rogue. Unity was also, you could say, it was relevant to the original Assassin's Creed series. But after the introduction of Syndicate, things have been messing up a bit by bit, and eventually it became to the point where there's a game called Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which is a full-on RPG game. Now, if I remember right, Assassin's Creed games wasn't always RPG, it was more of a straight-up action-packed third-person game which also had a great story, and it was like we are watching a movie but we are controlling the protagonist. But now, after Syndicate, so many things have been changed, especially by Origins. There were a lot of changes in the gameplay. So many RPG elements have been introduced from Origins, and now it's all been polished, and I could say it has been perfected in Odyssey. My favorite game was Assassin's Creed Black Flag. It was perfect in both gameplay and the story. The story may be not that great, definitely not the greatest of the bunch, but it was still a great story. Well, for me, Revelation had the best story, in my opinion, especially the ending. It was, such a worthwhile. But everything else, the gameplay style, how the Assassin's Creed supposed to be, and things that we expect from an AC game, that were all present in Black Flag, and I really enjoyed the game a lot. It had style, it had more action. It is one of the games that you expect to be a badass assassin, and it was. From watching the trailer of Black Flag to finishing the game, I was so hyped almost all the time. For me, it was like the core of Assassin's Creed. The gameplay was perfect, and I could say that if a new Assassin's Creed game came out with the gameplay style of Black Flag, I'm always up for it. The only weak point that I thought Black Flag had was the story. Without Desmond Miles, the story wasn't that strong. To be honest, Desmond Miles was my favorite character of the present, but Ezio was my favorite Assassin's Creed character. But anyways, that doesn't matter. Well, Odyssey, I can't criticize it that much because the game is fine. It's a great game. It got a lot of potential, and I think the game has been released in a way that the developers wanted to be. They were already saying that it's gonna be a total RPG game, and it was. And it was perfect in that way. I could say that it had everything a RPG game should have. I don't play RPG games that much, so I'm not the expert here. But Odyssey, I really am enjoying the game. I've been playing for the past couple of weeks, and I haven't finished the game yet. Well, the story have been good so far, and I'm really enjoying it, even though there are no assassins or Templars. Well, for Templars, there is something similar called the Cult, which is also referred as the Order, so I could say it's like the beginning of Templars or the Order. And since the developers calling the game as an Assassin's Creed, they want some reference from the old original series, so they just add something called the Cult, which I said is similar to Templars, and also the piece of Eden or the artifacts of power. So at least there are some references which are related to the original Assassin's Creed series, but still it's really far from being a real Assassin's Creed game. since I can really get the feeling of playing an Assassin's Creed game, it mostly feels like I'm playing some other RPG game. It kinda feels like a part of Witcher 3. To be honest, I really feel the game is a fusion of Witcher 3 and Rise Son of Rome. I can help but feel it because there's a lot of similarities between Witcher 3 and also the settings felt so much like Rise Son of Rome. But anyways, Odyssey got its own turn of twist and gameplay style. Well, talking about the gameplay, it has really improved a lot from Origins. I mean, definitely almost all the parts of Odyssey has been improved from Origins, including the gameplay, graphics and the combat. Especially the combat is now much more better than Origins. You get more control of your player than before, and it's a good thing because the Origins combat wasn't really something I liked, but Odyssey is certainly better than that, and it's much more fun and balanced than Origins. But even though the gameplay and combat mechanics have been improved, it's really not my style. I do like the gameplay mechanics of Black Flag, as I said before, and I would prefer the combat mechanics of Black Flag any day. And there are some things that you can do in Odyssey which you can do in Black Flag. For example, in Black Flag you could get into a fight with bare hands, and in the midst of the fight you could grab the weapon from your enemies and use it against them, which I think was pretty badass, and I does that a lot often just to look badass. And also there was dual assassination. It doesn't matter if you're using your hidden blades or your swords, you could dual assassinate anyone from almost every angle. The one thing that I most miss in Odyssey is the counter kill, which was present till Rogue. I really missed that because it was kind of awesome to see getting rapid kills, and it felt pretty badass to me. It was one of those things that I liked most in Assassin's Creed games, but you can do none of that in Odyssey because it's now a full-on RPG game, and it mostly rely on the skills of the player and the character in the game. Maybe it's a good thing, it will take more skill to kill an enemy player than before, but to be honest, Assassin's Creed games wasn't really there to test your skills. It was there to give maximum enjoyment that you can get, and I really miss the old gameplay style of the game. But still, it's not something that I can complain about because the combat of Odyssey is still fun, and I'm pretty sure most players are going to like this one than the previous games. Well, now being an RPG game means there's a introduction of leveling system, which I sometimes find frustrating to have. As I said before, I'm not a fan of RPG elements nor this leveling system, but it's something important to have since it's an RPG game now. And I have to say it's been implemented very good, but for me, due to these levels, I am being forced to play other side missions or do side activities, because when playing any mission, even campaign, there is a recommended level to play that mission, and if that recommended level is higher than yours, then you're gonna have some trouble finishing that one. And if the level is too high, then technically you can finish the mission because you can kill the enemies. Now, if you can avoid all the enemies and finish the game without killing anyone, if that mission is designed like that, then you can complete the mission. But in some missions you are forced to kill someone, then you can play that mission unless you're closer to the recommended level. Now this is not a big problem because yes, you are forced to play other missions from the campaign, but also the side mission and the side activities in the game are just as fun as the campaign, and you won't get bored of them. So that's why I don't hate the game that much, because as I said, almost every activities you can do in Odyssey is fun to do, and sometimes the side missions feels just like the campaign, and also sometimes the side missions can trigger a campaign or something, some special event. So it's pretty good to see the developers giving the side missions just as important as the campaign. Well, when talking about the activities, there are a lot of things to do in Odyssey, like capturing the fort, hunting down mercenaries, fighting against a champion in the arena, side quests, or just exploring the world. The exploration, well, that can be fun and frustrating at the same time. If you want to see many places in the game and just explore the game, then you're good. You're going to enjoy almost everything the game has to offer. But if you're traveling from one point to another, then you're gonna have some pain in the ass. If you're traveling through the ocean, then yes, it's pretty much the fastest way to travel long distances. But there are some times that you can rely on your ship. At that time, the horse comes into the play, and that's where things get frustrating. Traveling long distance with the horse, it's fine as long as you're on the open field or at forest areas, but when you reach some crowded places or some certain part of cities, the horse will definitely slow down on its own, and we can't do anything about that. Well, I don't know, because so far I have tried, nothing is been working and the horse still slows down. It feels kinda awkward. While the developers designed it to be like that, they should have given the player the option to run or walk with your horse. But instead of that, they just put the horse on automatic. And the worst part is, it even happens at the enemy territory, where you want to go fast, but your horse doesn't let you. So yeah, as I said, it can be sometimes pain in the ass, and it's gonna take a lot of time to cover the ground using your horse. So if you can travel through ocean, then do that as much as possible, and be sure to sync all the viewpoints so you can fast travel between cities, or it's gonna take a lot of time to get from one place to another. Now let's see about the graphics and performance. Well, I have a GTX 1063 GB with an i5 7400 and 8 GB RAM. You guys may already know that if you have watched my previous video. And I do have the gameplay of Assassin's Creed Odyssey in the spec, so if you want to take a look, then go ahead and check that video out. But the conclusive part is, the game runs fine, but you can play it at the maximum possible settings with this card. You really need a powerful hardware for that. So in this settings, with my specs, I could play the game with medium to high settings on 1080p, and most settings on high and some settings on medium at 768p. My monitor is 768p, so I play the game at 768p, and I put more settings on medium and some settings at high to gain more FPS. And it's hard to hit 60 FPS with this card. If you want to get 60 FPS almost all the time, then you need to lower some settings. If you're okay with having less graphics details, then you can always lower the settings and get more FPS and more smooth gameplay out of it. But to be honest, even in the medium settings, the game looks gorgeous. But the graphics does look great. It's now much more improved than Origins, and even in medium settings, as I said before, it still looks good. So yeah, you can lower the settings to medium and you can still enjoy the graphics and also a smooth gameplay. In the performance aspect of the game, I haven't faced any problems so far. There are no frame drops or stutterings, so I could say it's pretty optimized. The only thing you need is a good hardware to run it at the maximum possible settings. But even with a GTX 1050 Ti, you can play the game at 1080p with a mix of low, medium, high setting. So yeah, not much to worry about the graphics and performance aspect of the game. Now bugs, well, it can happen rarely, and when it happens, it can be quite fun, and sometimes you may need to restart the game to fix that bug. And bugs like that can sometimes happen, which are pretty rare and also hilarious at the same time. There are a lot of possibilities in the game, and a lot happen according to what you choose to say in the dialogues, and it's a good thing that you get to choose what to say next. You can be the bad guy or the good guy, it's up to you. I prefer the good guy version. So yeah, some things that happen are based on what you choose in the game, and it can affect the future missions. It's quite similar to Witcher 3, so yeah, you guys already know that. And yeah, the choices you make also affect the storyline. And as I said before, the leveling system is almost everywhere, every part of the game, and the weapons and armor are also rely on the leveling system. So that means you can only use the weapons and armor of the same exact or below your current level. So yeah, grinding XP does have a major role in the game, and also the experience point let you upgrade the skill tree, which is now much more elaborate, and there are so many skills to unlock and upgrade. So yeah, that's pretty much everything about Assassin's Creed Odyssey. So why did they do it? Why did they make a game which feels an entirely new game but gave the name Assassin's Creed? Well, if you think about it, as I said before, Assassin's Creed being one of the most successful franchise of Ubisoft, and they know people are going to buy it if they see an Assassin's Creed name on the game. And even though they have the resources to make an entirely new game, they didn't want to take that risk, and they just want to deliver something the people are already familiar about. So yeah, even though the game feels like an entirely new game, it's still an Assassin's Creed game. That's why they made some references to the old original series. And finally, is Assassin's Creed Odyssey a bad game? Well, definitely not. It's a great game. It had a lot of potential, and like I said before, it got so many things to do. Campaign is not the only thing that's focused here. There are also side missions which are just as important as the campaign, and also so many activities in the game which will keep you enjoyed throughout the game. So yeah, it's basically a great game. But if you ask me that if the game is a bad Assassin's Creed game, then yes, it's not what I expected. I wanted the game to be more like the old releases of the franchise, and I hope that the next game they release will be more like the old classic Assassin's Creed game. Well, only time can tell. Anyways, that's about it. This was my opinion and my review of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, then leave a like and let me know what you guys think about the Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Let me know in the comments below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, then be sure to do so. I'll be making more videos like this and also more gameplay videos coming soon. And as always, happy gaming and peace out.